And we are live, I believe so. Looks like this hangout is actually happening. Welcome everybody to my very first ever uh, podcast here for Code with Intent. This is the very first podcast that I ever created, and this is the first ever hangout live event that I have hosted here on YouTube. So this should be exciting and it should be fun, and I have a lot of stuff to cover, and hopefully we'll get some things done. And we'll talk about some of the exciting things that are going on here with Code with Intent. But first of all, I want to go ahead and cover just a little bit about what these podcasts are going to be about. Since this is the very first podcast that I'm creating, my main focus with this podcast is to give a little PR to software projects that are being worked on, especially with open source projects. So you must be saying, well, software development is a very large scope. How can you quickly, get focused into what it is that you want to talk about? Well, in software, there is two very different approaches that I've seen in podcasts that are taken. Which one of them is to focus specifically on, one technology. For example, this is a JavaScript podcast, or this is a CSS podcast. And with Code with Intent, it's more about, what is the intention that you are building this actual product for, and then it comes back to what kind of questions you should be asking about yourself, and most importantly about your team, and the vision, the longer vision for the project. So some of these questions that I had thought of, which I'm pretty sure I'm not the first one to think of about them, but definitely this will be some of the questions that I'll be asking anybody that comes on the show, and specifically relating to the software project that they're working on. So first of all, who will be using the software? What exactly is going to be built? Where is it going to be built? When is it going to get done? Why is it being built? How is it going to be built? The mechanics, what kind of framework is going to be used, and most importantly, how much it's going to cost, and where the money is going to come from to actually build the software. So as you can see right off the bat, this podcast is a little bit different than anything else out there. We're not just going to be focusing on frameworks or specific tactics or this or that. We're going to be looking at a much broader picture of software projects, and be willing to get into the nuts and bolts of the thing. So actually, going into looking at actual real code samples and so on and so forth. So, that's just a little quick introduction of kind of what's happening here and why I'm here, and kind of what I'm going to be building and what's going to happen with this podcast. So I just give you a little introduction there. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the actual current software projects for Code with Intent. Some of these projects include, let's go ahead and see here. Well, codewithintent.com. I've been a little backstory of Code with Intent. So I've been blogging since 2002, and I just barely recently have taken it seriously enough, starting this year, 2015. So I've been blogging for about 3 years, and it's just kind of been like a passive thing that I do, where I find something interesting, I blog about it, and usually somebody reads it, or they don't read it, or this or that. But now I actually have decided to put my full-time focus, whenever I'm not working on a project, to Code with Intent. So really bring in some real nice writing, actual production of actual content like this that you're hearing right now. And so that's kind of the first big announcement, which is I've actually decided to take on this project to actually be a serious project that I'll be working on. So serious projects mean serious things, right? All right. So the first thing is up, right? The first thing for a startup to do is to create yourself a nice logo. If you guys are looking at the video here, or the audio, the logo is designed by 99designs.com. If you guys are not familiar with them, go ahead and check them out, 99designs.com. And pretty much the idea there is you pretty much give them an idea, and they will give you a rough draft of kind of what you want built. So if you don't know exactly what your logo wants to look like, or if you know somewhere along the lines of what you want, you can kind of give them a scope, and then they'll work around that idea. And the cool thing is that there's designers from all over the world that will go ahead and submit different designs for you, and you have to approve them and see if that's something that's going to work out for your organization or not. And for me, it was really simple because, I kind of had an idea that I needed a better logo than I had before, because the one that I was using before was just a GIMP one that I made just with GIMP. So it was really simple. So I wanted something a little bit more polished and a little bit more professional. Again, back to the seriousness of this whole entire blog. So this is it pretty much. If you guys are watching the video stream for this is the Code with Intent new logo that was created by 99 Designs. Ended up costing me about $400. So that's USD. And I really like it. I really think that it's going to help Code with Intent and move it forward to kind of where I want to build it. So that's a big announcement. 99 Design went ahead and did that for me. Next thing is that I'm actually moving away from consulting, and I'm moving into the producing world. So I'm no longer going to be doing private consulting for my clients. And if you guys are not familiar with some of the things that I've done in the past, I've worked as a software developer for different types of businesses, mostly in the US. If you guys are familiar with Salt Lake City, I've worked around with multiple startups there, and I've done a couple projects with different people and that type of deal. And that's usually pretty heavily focused on software. So this is kind of mostly based on startups. So they usually revolve around an app or an idea of that type. So I'm moving away from that world, and I'm entering into the production world. So there's going to be definitely more content coming out from what I decide to write on and what I decide to focus on. So these podcasts are going to definitely be happening a lot more often than often throughout time. So yes, so podcast, that's pretty much about moving away from the consulting world and into the producing world. The next big thing that's happening here at Code with Intent is that we actually have an official podcast intro. And I'm not really sure if this will let me play it, but I'll go ahead and give it a try. So I'm not sure if you guys actually heard that, but if you guys did, great. If not, this will be the intro audio to this video, hopefully, and then be able to use that to specifically for the podcast, especially when it goes on to iTunes. So stay tuned for that. It should be really exciting when that does happen. For YouTube intro, I also have a new YouTube intro that's not released yet, but it's already created. I just had to pretty much start producing some videos, and that YouTube intro is going to go on there. And it's just pretty much my logo doing a little spinning around, and it's a nice little animation. So that's nice. Another thing to look forward to. So go on my YouTube channel and check that out. We also have live chat on the site as well. So that's working off of a couple plugins that I found for WordPress, but it's mostly based on AngularJS and Firebase. So if you guys are familiar with those tools, that's how that chat is working. So don't abuse it. It's just working on my dev account, and it can quickly break. So only use it when it's necessary. The next improvement that I've made is I've focused on the different parts of different social media aspects, which include Twitter and Facebook. So on my Twitter, there's a Twitter handle now, and there's a Facebook handle. You guys can go ahead and check it out. So for Twitter, is capital C _ capital W _ capital I _. And this is the Twitter feed here. It's relatively new, and there's definitely going to be a lot more action talking about different parts here. Code with Intent, so that'll be really cool. Also, the Facebook page has changed a little bit. We're accepting likes, and as always, if you like our page, you'll be able to see some of the blog posts that I have written and some of the blog posts that will be written in the near future. Pretty much that's some improvements there, setting up the new logo over there, so on and so forth. For the actual site itself, we have another small amount of improvements for codewithintent.com. for mobile devices. So if you're looking at the site through a mobile device, you'll be able to do that a little bit easier. I fixed a couple bugs that were with my theme, and I got those sort of worked out. Moved over our email subscription to Mautic. So I actually made a video about Mautic. But if you guys are not familiar with Mautic, I would highly recommend you to check them out for email automation and marketing automation, that type of deal. So if you guys are not familiar with Mautic, it is a really cool tool that I am just really excited to talk about. And it's incredible new marketing software that monitors your websites, creates landing pages, sends emails to grow your business. So since Code with Intent is a business, it is ultimately going to obviously involve some marketing aspects. So I'll talk about a little bit about Mautic because that is actually one of the software projects of the week. And we'll discuss a little bit more in detail, what is actually involved with Mautic and how that's actually going to play out for the show. Next thing up is there's a new banner for the YouTube channel. So let me see if I can pull this up. And the main thing here is that my YouTube channel, again, is going to be, I'm trying to make it just so that it's a little bit more professional. So people that land on my YouTube channel know that I'm actually taking this serious, and if they want to contribute or if they want to know more about what it is that I'm doing or this or that, they can go to youtube.com/user rick1475. And as you can see, we have a new nice little header up here that says computer science, software engineering, and programming. So that's kind of nice little add-on there for the YouTube channel, and that's kind of, that's about it. Next thing up is knowrick.com. If you guys don't know about knowrick.com, it is a software project that I started back in December 22, 23, and it was pretty much a software project that I started to kind of learn about the mean stack and kind of develop a MVP for my goals and kind of track the goals and that type of deal. And I've been working on knowrick.com for about 3 weeks. I worked on it. I did the original sprint on it for about 3 weeks just to see if there was enough traction. People actually cared about this type of software. And I found out that there was an actual need for it. So right now I'm actually finishing up a couple more things, a couple more ideas that I actually want to implement to it. And then hopefully I'll be taking this project and abstracting it out to a fairly large point where I can actually go ahead and start reaching out to different individuals to see if they actually want to purchase it or fund it or give it enough capital to take it to the next level. But right now it's definitely working for what I wanted to do, which is track my goals. And yeah, let's go ahead and take a little bit more look into some of the fixes that I applied to this actual software project. So one of the first things that I did was to fix the HTTPS issue that I was running into for mobile devices. If you guys have Apache or an SSL certificate, especially provided by GoDaddy, you might want to check I was getting on desktop devices, the HTTPS SSL certificate was working perfectly fine. But as soon as a mobile client would hook into the domain, it would automatically start complaining about not being a valid certificate, and it had to do some chaining, and it ended up costing me about half an hour talking with GoDaddy and their support team trying to figure out what was happening. But what ended up happening is I had to re-sign a new certificate with them and apply that new certificate with 2 different chains into Apache to make sure that those things work the way they're supposed to. But that's pretty much taken care of. So if you visit knowrick.com from a mobile device, you will not get any HTTPS errors, which is very nice. I was really working hard to get that done. The next thing is I finished actually inputting all my goals. So if you guys go here, you guys will see that there is goal number 1 and goal number 7. So it actually took me about a half a year to come up with my 7 goals. And you must be saying, well, it was a really long time just to come up with 7 goals. Yeah, it was actually a really long time because I actually took pretty serious look at myself and try to figure out what it is that I want to do. And you must be saying, well, that's pretty easy to do, right? You just say what you want and you do it. Not have found out that was actually a lot tougher than I thought it would originally be. So I have 7 goals. I already started to work on some of them. For example, to travel outside the U.S., I traveled to about 5 different locations. So got 5 more to go to complete that goal, and make these goals happen, because they are quite challenging. If you take the time to go read through some of them, they're pretty out there. So I might not finish all of them. I might finish some of them. We'll see how that goes. Next thing is I went ahead and fixed a couple SEOs for a single page application. So if you guys don't know, this is kind of getting a little bit more technical into the actual aspects of kind of what it is that that the actual software project is. I pretty much in a nutshell, it's pretty much, if you go to blog, this will go ahead and load up all the blog posts here, and if you click on one of these blog posts, it will actually go do #bang /blog post /post / the name of the post. And before this was working the same way, but it wasn't working quite exactly the way I wanted. It was doing like /blog /post / a huge hash number, so it wasn't too SEO friendly. But now we have a nice URL up there that the Google bots can go ahead and crawl through the site. So that's a really nice improvement to the URLs and the SEO overall for that project. Comments are not supported at norick.com. So that was even harder. It was even more difficult to get comments to work here. So if you go over to blog and you select one of these blog posts, you will see right here we have this blog post, and it is powered by Disqus. And if you don't know Disqus, you can go to disqus.com and learn more about what it is and how you can implement it on your own personal site, or on a site that you might be working on, or whatever it might be. But pretty much this is a piece of cake to implement if you're working on a standard setup for an application. For example, if you have a Rails application or a PHP application, or an application that's not a SPA, so single page application. If it's not a single page, it is a piece of cake to implement Disqus. It is just copy and paste a snippet of code and you're done. But now if you have a single page application, it gets a little bit more trickier, because you have to be able to track what part of that single page application you're at, and then tell Disqus to change or pull in comments and so on and so forth. So that was a little bit challenging to get that to work, especially with the mean stack and how to get those comments to actually populate in the correct place. Still not perfect, but it's definitely getting to where I want it to be. Next thing up is that I have officially launched the feed functionality. So let me go ahead and log out here just to kind of show you guys what it will look like from the public standpoint. So let me go ahead and log out. All right, so now here's what it will look like if you're coming in from the public. And if you click on feed, activity feed, this will show you all the feeds that I have posted. And the feed will show you kind of, a status update, and then it'll show you an image, and it'll show you towards what goal I was working on. So let me go ahead and go back. Activity feed. And yeah, I will show you what kind of goal that is. So for example, if you hover over the cup, it will tell you travel to 10 different locations. And as you guys can see, this is one of the locations that I traveled to, which is in Yucatan, Mexico, which is one of the 7th, Chichen Itza, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world. So I went there. I went to Cancun. You guys can go see here this activity feed, which is pretty cool. That I went ahead and launched for the mean project. And it was quite challenging. It took me about 7 hours to get all this to work, especially because of the file upload, and there were some weird abstractions that I had to do. But I'm definitely going to be making a video tutorial series on how to manage file assets, specifically with how to put those into your file server and storing those files. So that's officially launched, which is really exciting. Really want you guys to go ahead and check that out. It is definitely a cool functionality that took me, a little bit of time to actually get to work, but hopefully you guys will enjoy it. And then the next thing up is I try to handle events for invalid URLs using Node. So what am I talking about here? So if I go to noderick.com/blah, this will actually go ahead and crash the application and say not found. So Node is actually finding correctly that this is an invalid URL, but at the same time, it is not allowing the rest of the application to load, which is my Node.js part, which is the sidebar that you're looking here. So you're seeing quote and global username. So depending on how you want to handle this, I wrote some code that was a little bit hackish, but it didn't actually do what I wanted to do. And I poked around on the Mean.io framework, and I was trying to figure out how I can capture this event and handle it gracefully, but it was a little bit more challenging than I originally expected. So for now, for the time being, I'm not supporting that, and maybe sometime in the future, we will move over to handling that event. And the next thing up is there is an official banner for that YouTube channel. So if you go over to, let me see if I can pull this up. There's an official channel for noderick.com. And why I would recommend you to go subscribe to that one is that it is, let's see if I can find it real quick. It is anything that doesn't go on this main channel will end up over there. So at this point, I'm almost at about 1,000 subscribers. 966 of you guys are interested in what I have to say. So let me go ahead and see if I can pull this up, the new channel that's going to be hosting the new content for anything that doesn't make it to this channel. Because the thing is that sometimes I want to post things and they don't quite fit into the code with intent bubble of information. So I know you guys want more, actual hands-on programming tutorials, that type of thing. So this is more towards like system administration and actual life / quick tutorials that don't necessarily have to do with anything. So as you guys can see, we have a couple of them already up there. So hopefully in the near future we'll have some more, but make sure you go subscribe here. So it's user code with intent. You can go ahead and find these videos here. I'll also post a link to this on the blog post so you guys can get quickly off to that channel. And then finally, the last part of this before I go, because I have been talking for almost about half an hour, is to talk about the software project of the week. And the software project, you guys already heard me talk about it for a little bit, and now I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit into the nuts and bolts of it, which is Mautic. And Mautic is a open source, first of its kind, brand new, minimal viable product, recently launched, being committed all the time on GitHub. And it is a project that allows you to automate your marketing needs to a certain extent. So it's not a CRM, but it's not MailChimp. It is essentially what allows you to guide your users to signing up for a newsletter, receiving a product, and being able to nurture those leads through your path that you have set up for them. So here's their site right here, Mautic.org. You guys can go ahead and check them out. It's monitors, websites, create landing pages, sends emails, grows your business at no monthly cost. So it is an open source project. That's what kind of originally drew me to it. And the other thing is that it's actually using Symfony to build its packages. So if you guys are familiar with Symfony, it's really an extensible framework that allows you to do some pretty cool stuff. So that's Symfony, and it's built on Symfony. Here's the GitHub project for it. We're going to go ahead and here and look at all the commits here. There's over 3,965 commits as of Saturday, July 11, 2015. So definitely a lot of stuff going on, a lot of excitement about this project, and mostly importantly, one of the reasons why I really got excited about it was because of one of its founders, which was Jeremy Davis. And Jeremy Davis is the one that you will find his talks on YouTube, and he's one of the main contributors of Source Code, one of the main contributors of PR, one of the main contributors of marketing. He's pretty much the founder, so you can find him pretty much everywhere in the documentation, here or there. He's definitely excited about this, and it definitely does carry over when he talks about it. And this is why I'm talking to you about it, because he's just so excited about it. And it is definitely something that I see that it's going to definitely change how marketing is done in the future. And let me go ahead and show you kind of what it is and what is Mautic, that type of deal. So it is an automation software that you can install on your own server, or they can host it for you. So it does social marketing, leads and campaigns, forms, points, and reports. So that's a whole lot. And when I first looked at this, and if you're not a professional internet marketer, this may sound or look a little bit intimidating, because it is a lot of information to take in. But pretty much, like, the 5-minute breakdown of how this works is really simple. Marketing allows you to build a very specific, tailored message to your audience. So instead of having one massive email that's like, hey, generic this, generic that, make sure you do generic this. Instead of that, you can have something very specifically tailored to your audience. So for example, let's say you have a subscriber that signs up for your newsletter, but you've noticed that he was on your site for 20 days. Right? So if he was on your site for 20 days, then he finally said, yes, I'm going to go ahead and subscribe to this blog, or I'm really wanted to go ahead and get more videos from you, whatever it might be. You can say, wow, you took 20 days to sign up. You must have taken a lot of convincing. So I'm going to go ahead and give you this very special thing. It could be a video. It could be a white paper. It could be a special blog post. It could be an invitation to an event. It could be just a simple thank you letter. I mean, the list goes on and on about the possibilities they can do. So instead of just sending them like, hey, welcome, yada, 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 right? So that's kind of what social targeting will allow you to do, specifically towards individuals that you want to go ahead and manage. And Mautic just does a phenomenal job of this. I have not found any tool that comes even close to what Mautic can do. And remember, this is in beta. This is not even version 1.0. It's still being worked on, and it's still not perfect, but it's definitely, I can definitely see the vision, and I can see where this is going. So it does a little bit of social media marketing. It does leads. It does a little bit of campaigns, forms, points, reports, and it pretty much gets you ready to go to start automating some of your marketing needs. So that's kind of a rough overview of what it is. It still doesn't, I'm pretty sure, still as clear as mud, but I would encourage you to go over and check out their demo that they have. Let me see if I'll probably have to go ahead and log in. Yeah, it's going to probably require me to log in. Yeah, go ahead and check it out. Here's the download link. You just pretty much give them a little bit of information about you, and you can go ahead and get the source code. Either you can go ahead and clone it off of GitHub, or you can go on there and download it yourself. So there's a bunch of different things going on here on their GitHub page, specifically some of the releases that they have released, which is 1.12, which is the version that I have tried, and it is probably a good version to give it a try with. So yeah, that's pretty much about it for this project. I am going to definitely be looking into more specifically on some of the actual parts of this software project that the contributors are um, relating to, and how they're working on this, specifically how they're funding it, and most importantly, when are they going to release version 1, and so on and so forth. But that's pretty much the software project of the week. So that pretty much does it for the very first episode of Code with Intent, social infrastructure, travel, and then some. I forgot to talk about the travel part. So right now I'm talking to you guys from Guadalajara, Mexico, and I am at the Hackers Garage, which is kind of like a co-working place that you can use to work on your projects. And right now I'm actually traveling because it is one of my goals to travel, and it is one of my goals to start a podcast. So I have started a podcast, and I am traveling, and I'm making it happen. So that's it for this. For this episode, make sure that you check go to codewithintent.com/podcast, which will give you all the podcasts that are available that I produce, or you can go on my YouTube channel and go ahead and listen to the podcast through that. But that pretty much does it for this show, and we'll see you guys